He stepped into the store with quiet confidence, eyes drawn to a guitar worth more than most people's dreams. But before he could even get close, the atmosphere shifted. Judging looks, cold silence, and then a voice, sharp, dismissive, final, cut through the room, making it clear he didn't belong there. It wasn't just about money. It was something deeper, something unspoken but painfully obvious. What happened next didn't just challenge one man's assumptions. It exposed a truth many still refuse to see. Because sometimes the biggest mistake isn't what you say, it's who you say it to. It was a place she had dreamed about for years, a high-end music store filled with instruments. Most people only ever saw behind glass. For her, music wasn't just a hobby. It was everything. Long nights of practice, worn fingertips, and quiet determination had shaped her into someone who didn't just play. She felt every note. She wasn't rich, not even close, but she carried herself with a quiet confidence that didn't ask for permission to belong. That day, she stepped inside, eyes locked on something extraordinary, a guitar so rare, so expensive it almost didn't feel real. People noticed her immediately, not for what she had achieved, but for what they assumed she didn't have. A few glances turned into whispers, a few whispers into doubt, and somewhere in that room, a decision was already being made about her before she ever touched a single string. She moved closer to the guitar, her steps calm, controlled, like she had taken this walk 1,000 times in her mind. The price tag hung from the headstock, bold and unapologetic. $100,000. It didn't scare her. It focused her. But the room had already turned against her. A man behind the counter watched her every move, his eyes narrowing with quiet suspicion, not curiosity, judgment. The kind that didn't need words to be understood. Another employee leaned in, whispering something just out of reach, their eyes flicking toward her like she was out of place in a world she had no right to enter. Still, she didn't stop. Her fingers hovered, just inches away from the strings when the voice cut through the air, sharp, cold, certain. It wasn't a question. It wasn't even a warning. It was a line drawn in the sand, one that said she didn't belong on this side of the room. The space around her tightened. Conversations faded. Every movement in the store slowed as attention quietly shifted in her direction. No one stepped in. No one challenged it. They just watched, waiting to see what she would do. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Her hand lingered in the air, caught between reaching forward or pulling back, because this wasn't new. The looks, the assumptions, the silent accusations wrapped in polite settings. She had felt them before, in classrooms, on stages, in places where she had to prove herself twice as hard just to be seen once. But this moment felt different, heavier, public, and now there was no escaping it. The man took a step closer, his presence looming, his expression unshaken. Around them, a quiet tension spread thick enough to feel. Someone near the back shifted uncomfortably. Another turned away, pretending not to notice. But everyone noticed. And in that silence, a question hung in the air, unspoken, but clear. Would she back down, or would she cross a line they never expected her to? Her hand didn't pull back. Instead, it moved forward. Fingers touched the strings, light at first, almost hesitant. The room tensed, as if she had just crossed an invisible line. No one believed she had the right to cross. The man behind her stepped closer, ready to intervene, ready to stop what he had already decided shouldn't happen. But then, she played. One note, clear, perfect, undeniable. It cut through the silence, like it belonged there. Then another, and another. Within seconds, the entire atmosphere shifted. What started as doubt turned into confusion, then something deeper. The kind of realization people don't want to admit. Conversations died completely. Even the man behind her froze, his authority slipping with every note that filled the room. This wasn't luck. This wasn't curiosity. This was mastery. Her hands moved with precision, confidence, and emotion that couldn't be faked, couldn't be learned overnight. Every chord told a story, of struggle, of resilience, of years spent proving people wrong without ever saying a word. The same people who had judged her just moments ago now stood still, watching, listening, unable to look away. And the man who had tried to stop her? He said nothing, because there was nothing left to say. The truth was already echoing through every corner of that room. By the time her fingers left the strings, the silence that followed was heavier than anything before it. No whispers. No judgment. Just the weight of what they had all witnessed and what it meant. In that moment, it wasn't just about a guitar anymore. It was about everything they got wrong. No one clapped at first. They just stood there, frozen, caught between what they believed and what they had just witnessed. The man behind the counter slowly stepped back. His earlier confidence replaced by something far quieter. Regret, maybe. Or the uncomfortable weight of being wrong in a way that couldn't be undone. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. She placed the guitar back exactly where it belonged, her movements calm. Controlled, like she had done nothing extraordinary at all. And then, without looking for approval, without waiting for an apology, she turned and walked toward the door. But this time the room made space for her. Not because they suddenly understood everything, but because, for a moment, they were forced to confront something real, something they had ignored, dismissed, or never questioned before. Outside, the world kept moving. Cars passed. People walked. Life went on like it always does. But for her, something had shifted. Not her talent. Not her worth, but the reminder that sometimes the hardest battles aren't fought with words. They're fought with presence, with proof, with the quiet strength to stand where others think you don't belong. And for everyone inside that store, the silence she left behind would linger far longer than any sound she created. Because this wasn't just about one moment. It was about a pattern, a mindset, a reality that still exists in places we don't always see. So the question is, how many more moments like this are happening every day, unnoticed, unchallenged, unchanged? And more importantly, when will that finally